Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0, movie I've waited for a long time, but I'm sure not as long as most diehard fans out there. I've been in the anime sphere for a relatively short time, not too old to grow up with Naruto or Bleach and shit, but also not too young to get into it after the My Hero Academia hype, so somewhere in between there. And to say that Evangelion is one of those animes that had the most impact on me would be the most cliche thing, but it's also the truth. Historically speaking, Evangelion was revolutionary in anime culture for presenting a series that took the audience seriously and making it known that anime can tackle these big boy turn your brain on topics. But other than that, the show is just solid in its themes of loneliness and finding your purpose. Every character is flawed with attributes that I think most people can relate to. And I'm definitely certain that there are people who could have described their love for the series way better than I did. I mean, there are literally hundreds of video essays out there going deep into analysis of the third impact or why jacking off to a comatose patient has deeper meaning into it, but I'm not good at that. I can tell you how I felt, but I can't tell you why it made me feel that way. Well, why am I telling you all this before saying my review for the movie? Well, in all honesty, this is the best I can do in showing how much I appreciate Evangelion as a series, and how much this final film impacted me. So Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0, Thrice Upon a Time, whatever you fucking call it, continues sometime right after the events of the previous film, and without giving away any spoilers, because I feel like even just describing the plot sort of ruins the experience. Not that there's a shit ton of plot twists, but let's just say it starts off trying to heal some wounds, and it makes you wonder during that first act, if this is how it starts, how the fuck are they gonna end it? Like, how the fuck are they gonna supposedly conclude this entire series? And honestly, I'm still contemplating whether or not I like the first act more than the third, or vice versa, because my god, they are both beautiful visually and emotionally. I forgot to mention, but if you haven't watched this movie, think of it as the payoff to everything that the Evangelion franchise built. I mean, I'm gonna just say it, I cried a lot during the runtime of this film. Not like cried a great amount, but I teared up multiple times at many different scenes, because if you've seen the entire series, there are so many references and callbacks to the original series and the End of Eva movie, and probably even the manga. And even if there was another entry into the franchise, I don't think Anno will be working on it, because this really feels like him saying goodbye to his work. It's him saying goodbye to all Evangelion. That was a pretty meta joke, right? Well, I'm not joking, and you're not laughing. But going back to topic, this movie gets pretty meta. I always thought that the original Neon Genesis Evangelion show was a commentary on mecha shows, and the End of Evangelion movie concluded that arc while also giving us a commentary on escapism. And aside from theories, people didn't really know what to think about the rebuild movies. I think a lot of people thought it was just gonna be a reboot for Eva, and they thought maybe Anno wanted to take a different direction from the original show now that he has the budget to make it. But personally, I always thought of the rebuild movies as a commentary to the Eva series in general, and how big its impact changed the anime culture in Japan, and how it probably even changed Anno's life. But having that thought in my head, I was glad to see that everything the rebuild movies, built had finally paid off, and in such a satisfying way. The third act was everything I was hoping for in a conclusion for Eva, and it delivered. Also, I want to talk about a specific scene without getting into spoilers, but there's a scene where I thought, hey, that's some pretty shitty low-budget CGI and some pretty shitty shots, isn't it? I mean, you'd think they have enough budget for this feature film, but then later you'd find out, oh shit, it was on purpose. Oh fuck, that's kind of genius. And I know it sounds stupid, and I feel like I probably ruined that moment for you, but I feel like it was worth pointing out and worth mentioning, because people will complain about that, and I don't know, I'm just Why did I say that in the first place? Oh, fuck it. But going back a bit, I'll talk briefly about the second act. In terms of action, it was pretty jam-packed. Mech lovers will enjoy the second act. Probably a lot of Eva fans too, if they're super deep into the lore. But with how the first act builds up, it sort of slows down the pace of the story when you're actually going into the second act. I won't lie, I was kind of waiting for the fight scenes to end so we can continue with the story, but at the same time I didn't want it to end because the fights were fucking cool. And that's when the third act came and fucking slapped its dick right into the screen and you're just there to witness its beauty. But even with that, I still can't blame the movie for its pacing because it takes its time and it knows that. This 2 hour and 30 minutes of an art is absolutely packed. The visuals, which I've mentioned only a bit, but talking about them, oh boy, fucking anime of the year in my book. I love the look of this film. It has that similar vibe to the 3.0 movie, but seeing it in a more vibrant setting looked pleasant. And now we talk about the conclusion, which will be hard not to spoil, but I'll try my best. First off, I love it. Again, it wrapped up the entire franchise neatly in a box, and that box was thrown at us by Hideaki Anno, and I can imagine him saying, "Alright, this is your last allowance, now go find a job, you lazy fuck." I kinda like that message. I mean, I can understand why a lot of people would say that this was a satisfying conclusion, but it's probably not the one they wished for. I can see a lot of hardcore Eva fans think this way. Again, personally, I loved it, but take this opinion from someone who gave Eva 3.0 a 10 out of 10, and also don't be alarmed when I say this was a satisfying conclusion for everyone. I don't mean it as Anno played it safe by giving it a generic safe ending. No, the director needs balls and actual passion to be able to pull something like this off. What I mean to say is that this film will satisfy the majority of the Eva fanbase, and it's honestly bittersweet to see this go. Even if I wasn't there when it started, at least I got to see it end. The original series is already a classic, but I feel like the rebuild movies could also be put up there. I mean, they are just one big series. If you haven't watched the original Eva series, please do. Don't go into this thinking that it's just a retelling of an old story, because it's way more than that. And don't be put off by deep topics and lore. You know what? Sometimes it's okay to be a bit pretentious and explore those deep analysis. Finally, I just want to thank Hideaki Anno for making something like this. It feels like I'm giving a send-off. Well, I kinda am, but I know I can always rewatch the series. And you know what? I feel like this whole video felt more of just my love letter to Evangelion more than a review. But I hope you guys who were looking for a review got something out of it. And I also hope that I can get to talk about Evangelion more and look back on it more in future videos. But other than that, yes, there's nothing else. Well, I guess this is goodbye for Evangelion. What a fucking ride.